Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Almost Game Day. As always, I'm your host, Sean Green, and I've kind of got a little bit of a Masters special for you, those of you who like golf, or those of you that want to learn more about golf. I have probably one of the most perfect guests ever on the show to explain golf and kind of get you ready for your Masters binge watching this weekend. I've got Kraig Kann, host on many Sirius XM PGA Tour radio shows, joining me. Kraig, it's a little bit weird, I'm going to be honest. I usually listen to you a lot, interviewing a bunch of different guests and sitting and listening to you interview. But to be interviewing you, it's just a little bit different. How are you doing with Masters coming up this weekend?
I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks for having me, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. I think a lot of people are pretty excited about the Masters. There's no question about it. This is that time of year, although it's just not this time of year. Usually it's in April. We get excited about the Masters, but it's November, and we're not really comfortable with that. We're trying to figure that all out. So the leaves are different on the trees. The grass is actually a little bit different. It definitely had some rain situation going on early in the week. And now we're getting ready for the fun part of the weekend, where it really all comes down to who's playing the best, who can handle the pressure, and who's going to slip on that green jacket. And I can promise you, there are a lot of people out there that have rules about Masters weekend. It doesn't matter if you're a guy, doesn't matter if you're a woman. There are so many people that love this event. This is not a golf event. This is an actual sports happening. It's a treasure in sports, and people really look forward to it.
No, I said on a couple shows this week, because the Masters is happening during football, you're going to see this weekend especially, it's week 10 of the NFL. It's not like the playoffs are happening. There's going to be a bunch of people on Saturday and Sunday tuning into this Masters coverage because of how, big of a deal it is in the game of golf. Now, you brought up how different it is having the Masters this late in the year. Now we're into November. A lot of people have been talking to me that maybe don't watch golf as much, are kind of confused. They're like, how are the greens going to be different? How is the weather compared to what it's usually like in Augusta? So can you explain that? Are the greens going to be any different? Is there going to be any more challenges for these golfers coming into this weekend?
Well, first off, the folks at Augusta National can do whatever they want with the golf course. They can set it up however they want to. And there's a thing called a sub-air system that happens underneath all of the greens. They can suck the moisture out of it. So the rain that happened earlier in the week, Wednesday, Thursday, that stuff will pretty much be gone, provided there's no big weather situation over the weekend. Temperatures over the weekend supposed to be in the upper 50s in the morning, mid to upper 70s in the afternoon. It could be really nice on the weekend. We might see sunny skies. If that's the case, sure, the golf course might play a little bit softer, a little bit slower, but the folks at Augusta National, they're pros. They can pretty much do whatever they want to, and that confuses the players at times. As far as the grass is concerned, Bermuda's a type of grass that you usually see, but it really hasn't died off that much. It hasn't changed as much as you would think. Some people around the greens are going to struggle with the chipping, so watch that this weekend. But other than that, it's bombs away off the tee, see who hits it the best, and see who handles the pressure. There is so much undulation, Sean, on the golf course that people can't really see on television. I mean, a lot of changes in terrain, and that's a big part of it. You've got to hit golf shots to certain parts of the green that you don't have to do on other golf courses. You have to be in the exact right spot. Otherwise, you're left with a really difficult putt. So, as always, it's going to be a lot of fun on the weekend.
So going into this Masters weekend, I'll be honest, I was scrolling through Twitter. I was looking at a bunch of stuff talking about the Masters. And for the first time in a while, I didn't see anybody talking about Tiger Woods. There was really nobody putting him in the conversation. Nobody was really giving him the time of day. And now you look at it, and he's had a pretty good start to the weekend with, his great start at the Masters so far. What do you see out of Tiger these first 2 days to basically be at the top of the leaderboard, even though he's really had a not so great season so far this year?
No, you're right. He hasn't played a whole lot of golf. In fact, it was the first bogey-free round that he's ever had at the Masters on Thursday. The last time he went bogey-free in a major, you have to go all the way back to 2009. That is a long time ago. That's not to say he hasn't had success between then and now, but it's just not the usual for Tiger. Tiger's usually gotten off to difficult starts at Augusta. Even in 1997, when he won for the first time, he did not get off to a good opening 9 holes. He ended up winning, and obviously the rest is history. But Look, you asked why people haven't been talking about Tiger that much. Tiger's a big guy who talks about reps. I need to get in reps. But at the same time, he did not play a lot of golf leading up to the Masters, whether that was to protect his body, to protect his back, to come in with the right amount of energy. Look, only he really knows that. What we do know is he didn't play a lot of golf leading up to the Masters. And he didn't have a good week at the US Open. He wasn't right there at the PGA Championship. So we're left to not pick him as among the favorites. But the one thing, well, actually, there's two. One thing is when you have knowledge and the success that he's had at Augusta National with multiple green jackets, that means a lot, a lot. You can contend into your later years. Jack Nicklaus won at 46 years of age. Ben Crenshaw won in 1995 when nobody expected him to contend. So Tiger has that on his side. He's got experience. He won last time around as well. The other thing that's important about Tiger Woods, don't ever count him out. He proves us wrong every single time, it seems like. Nobody thought he was going to win the Masters last go around. And lo and behold, he slipped on another green jacket.
I can only imagine if Tiger Woods having a poor year, not winning much, being at the bottom of the leaderboard in a bunch of tournaments, winning back-to-back Masters. That would just be 2020 in a nutshell. Like, I can only imagine that happening on Sunday. Tiger Woods winning another Masters, even after having a poor year. That would sum it up for me, pretty much. This year would just be tied up. I want to go to Rory McIlroy because, listen, he's one of golf's favorite kids. Like, you just see this guy. You don't see one bad bone in this guy. He's a great golfer, won almost every single major you can, except the Masters. Highest finish, fourth in 2015. What do you see out of Rory this weekend? What can he do to finally get that final major and slip on that green jacket?
Well, first off, he's got to be in contention. You know, the big thing is the Masters. They like to say, it's the old cliche, the Masters begins on the second 9 holes on Sunday. Will he be there? I mean, that's the whole thing. Rory comes in a little bit different. He was playing great golf before the pandemic hit. He was number 1 in the world. His whole life has changed, right? He's got a newborn child. Rory talked about it in his press conferences this week that he's an only child himself and his whole world revolved around him. And everybody's world in his family revolved around him. And now everything's different. He's playing for something different. He's playing for somebody different. And I think he comes in a little bit more relaxed this year. Not suggesting that he's going to win the Masters. You brought up the great point about finishing in the top 5 in 2015. He's looking for the career Grand Slam. All right. He's trying to win all 4 majors. He's got 3 of them. The one he doesn't have is the Masters. He's had opportunities before. What I think helps him, now he has to be there when it all comes down to the wire. But what helps him, I think, is that he's not coming in with all the pressure that he used to have. People are thinking about other players, the Bryson DeChambeaus, the John Rahms, the Justin Thomases, the Brooks Koepkas, the Dustin Johnsons. All that sort of stuff is big. But here's a little statistic for you. In the last 5 years, no world number one has finished inside the top 4 at the Masters. That would eliminate Dustin Johnson from being in the mix. Rory was 4th, as you mentioned, in 2015.
No, it's a great stat, and honestly, it's really eye-opening. It just shows you how hard Augusta National is to play at. Now, you mentioned Bryson DeChambeau. It seems like, especially the last month or two, everybody's been looking at this guy and kind of basically saying, this guy's going to pop off. He's a really good golfer, and he might be the next top number 1, golf number 1. What do you see out of Bryson this weekend, and especially going into future years? Because, again, like I said, it looks like people are starting to crown him as the next big thing in golf.
Well, Bryson didn't get off to the best start on Thursday. And so, again, for him to kind of still have his wits about him after 1 round was a positive sign. Now, a lot of golf left to be played. Bryson DeChambeau came in with a lot of hype and a lot of distance. Nobody hits it further. For multiple days leading into it, there was talk of him using a 48-inch driver, and he was still fiddling around with that on Wednesday, which to me wasn't a great sign. If you go into the Masters without a true defined game plan on Wednesday, I think that leads to a little bit of confusion. I think you need to know exactly what you're going to do. So I was a bit surprised he was still tinkering. Having said that, nobody hits it further. If the golf course is wet, if there's any more rain over the weekend, you would like to think you would have an opportunity. But the thing about Augusta is it really doesn't play huge favorites to anybody. That ball does not know the name of the person who's hitting it. It is about who hits the ball the best, who puts it in the best spot. Bryson DeChambeau might be the longest guy in the world, but doesn't mean he's going to have the best iron game, and it doesn't mean he's going to handle the greens and the undulations and all that stuff the best. He had obviously a fantastic U.S. Open, but nothing's guaranteed at Augusta. Do I think he'll get a green jacket someday? Yeah, I do. Do I think it's this weekend? Time will tell.
Who's your pick? I know there's out of the field right now. Who do you really like to win the Masters on Sunday?
Well, it's really hard to say because we've played one round of golf, and daylight's a big issue too. So there's so much that's hanging out there before we get down to the nitty gritty. When a guy like Paul Casey, over 40 years of age, opens with 7 under par, you begin to say, all right, anybody can do this thing. Now, Paul Casey's had a wonderful career, and he's certainly capable. There's no question about it. He had a good run in majors already this year. You're asking me to pick a favorite with very little golf having
Trust
been
me,
played.
I had to too. I didn't want to pick a
Yeah.
favorite now, but everybody's got to at some point.
Yeah. Look, I thought Dustin Johnson was the guy going in, despite the statistic that I already said. I always have been a Webb Simpson guy. I feel like the golf course really suits him. He got off to a great start. I like Webb Simpson, but you just don't know. I would say this, Paul Casey, I think, will still hang around. Tiger Woods got off to a very good start, bogey free on Thursday. Does that mean he's going to be in the mix come Sunday? I won't bet against him, but I'm not going to bet on him. So at this point, I think it's any guy's game that's within 3-4 shots. The key is come Sunday, you've got to be there. History says you need to be in the final group, the final pairing on Sunday to have your best chance. Coming from behind is very difficult to do at Augusta based on history. So if we're getting down to it on Sunday, start looking at that leaderboard and what time the pairings are and who's in them. The last 2 groups to be in there is really important.
Kraig, I'm sure there's a couple people that probably want media training or interested in what you're doing, so I'll give you some time to go ahead and promote all of the stuff that you do, because it's like a million things. So if you could do it in like a minute, I'd appreciate it.
Well, you talked about Sirius XM. I host a bunch of shows on there. I host Connected on Monday with John Cook, and I host the pre and post game shows on the weekend. I really enjoy that, talking PGA Tour golf, which I did for years, 18 of them at the Golf Channel. I was one of the originals back in 1995 when the Golf Channel launched and covered the Masters the first time the Golf Channel was ever there in 95. But right now it's a little bit different. After 5 years at the LPGA, I started my own business called Kann Advisory Group. I still wear the Augusta shirt. I got to wear the Masters shirt during Masters week. And I got a little Masters hat behind me as well. But I'm out there doing media coaching. I'm out there doing keynote speaking and helping corporate people learn to present a better message and build their brands. That's what I do. I love doing that, spending time helping people with their messaging and how they present themselves and their company. That's what I do. But this is fun too, talking golf and being with you, who's an aspiring broadcaster yourself.
I appreciate you coming on. And for those of you that don't know, go check out Tracks to Success on any podcasting platform. It's a great listen. Kraig does a great job. And I think I do a decent job producing it. Don't you think? I do decent enough. You think?
I would say of all the people that have ever produced Tracks to Success, you're the most recent. And I would also say that you're the best. I haven't had any other producers of Tracks to Success, but you've done a great job. I will say this, as you well know, we've had some really good guests on this podcast that you can find on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on iHeart, all that stuff, and on my YouTube channel. You've done a great job of producing the videos. And to say that we've had Cole Swindell, to say that we've had Colt Ford, to say that we've had the only astronaut to command 5 space shuttle missions and been on 6, that's pretty cool. We've had speakers. We've had college football coaches like Dan Mullen. It's been a lot of fun. We've had Joe Buck and Mike Tirico, for gosh sakes.
Yeah,
So,
they'll know those people. Yeah,
Yeah.
The sportscasters there. All these people know those people. But
You've done a great job, so I appreciate all your help.
I appreciate it. Monday, Noah Kroom, Track Success. Go subscribe, YouTube, all that good stuff. Kraig, thank you for coming on. Up next, as always, touchdown picks of the week. Stay tuned.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
All right, welcome back to Almost Game Day. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Kraig Kann. The Masters is always crazy. Every year, you have one guy that you just don't expect to make an impact. So hopefully this weekend, especially Saturday and Sunday, we will see some great golf out of these great golfers. But as always, every single week, touchdown picks of the week. Again, we keep having solid weeks. If you fade me, it's probably the wrong move. Last week I went 9-6. We're 82-45 on the year. Going into week 10, I'm very happy with the record. Again, I'm getting more than half every single week correct. We've really only had one losing week all year. So I take that as W. I take that as a win. And with that being said, without further ado, let's get into the very first game. Bucs, Panthers. Now, again, last week, if you would have taken my pick, I told you the Saints are going to cover the spread. They're going to win and cover. I was really the only one in sports to pick that. Everybody was going for the Bucs. The Bucs are the much better team. It's in Tampa Bay. I didn't believe the hype. Now what I'm about to tell you is the Bucs are going to destroy the Panthers. Tom Brady, coming off a loss, is 7-1. He is almost virtually unbeatable. In the last couple of years, he's 7-1. He's virtually unbeatable, especially at home. This is just a different story. They're going on the road to Carolina. Tom knows that if he loses this game, there's going to be a bunch of question marks. There's going to be, are the Bucs really that good? Because if you watch that Saints game, nothing went right for them. They looked terrible. They looked like the worst team in the NFL. They played a good pass rush. This Panthers team does not have a great pass rush. If you look, they're good on the outs. They can defend the wide receivers pretty well. They played good enough against the Chiefs to keep the game close. They had a couple of assignments that just, like Tyreek Hill was a big mismatch for them. There was sometimes he was just going in the backfield, couldn't find him. This week, I think you're going to see a big game out of Mike Evans. He's going to get Mike Evans the ball. I think you're going to see probably a big game out of Gronk. I think this is a blowout. I don't think it's close. The Panthers are a solid team. You can't take them lightly, but the Bucs are going to come back, win, cover that 5.5 spread. Dolphins, Chargers. Again, I haven't seen enough out of Tua to pick the Dolphins. I've seen enough out of Justin Herbert to know that he's going to keep this game close whether you like it or not. The Dolphins' defense is pretty spectacular, but they just lost a bunch of defensive players to COVID. One key player being Kyle Van Noy. He just got moved to reserve COVID. So that's a big piece on that lineup to get taken out, especially against a big-time player like Justin Herbert. Already, big-time quarterback, big quarterback, 6'5", crazy, 6'6". I think the Chargers can get the upset here, win and cover that plus 2.5. I really like the Chargers. I didn't like Justin Herbert. Now I really do. I think the kid's got a lot of potential. I say take the Chargers here. It's a small line. The Dolphins aren't very impressive to me. And there's a couple teams that they're winning, but they're still not very impressive. So that you'll see that as I go down the list of my other games this week. Cardinals, Bills. Again, number one, I don't know why the Cardinals are favored. Let's get that 100% clear. The Bills coming off a great win against the Seahawks. Again, I think you're going to see Vegas start kind of fading the Seahawks when it comes to spreads and lines because of how bad that defense is. The Bills are not that good. I'm telling you guys, I promise you, I watch this Bills team almost every week, and I'm like, how is that their record? How are they 7-2, 8-2? How is that possible? They have off weeks. They have these weeks where they can be playing the best teams, and they won't do well. Seattle, I count them as a top team, but that defense is not a top-tier defense. It's probably one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Josh Allen made them look like babies last week. Cardinals, I'm not going to say they're much better. Defense is not as good. The offense, though, is good. I don't know why I keep betting the Cardinals, because every time I seem to bet them, I always get let down. But I'm going Cardinals here. I think they win and cover. It's only a -2. Again, I'm just not so high on the Bills. The Bills need to show me something a little bit extra to make me really, truly believe in them. So I'm going Cardinals here. Rams, Seahawks. Again, you look at this. Seahawks are the underdogs. And I think I can see why. They really watched that Bills game and are like, wow. It just looks terrible. It looks bad for the Seahawks because their offense has to keep them in the game consistently, and then their defense slumps. Their defense gives up 44 points to the Bills. There's something wrong there. So when I look at this game, it seems like a trap game, right? Rams 1.5. You can go either way here. Rams coming off of a bye, right? They have a whole week to prepare for Russell Wilson. My only problem is I like the Seahawks much better than the Rams. I know what the Seahawks are. Now, do I think Jared Goff is going to light the Seahawks defense up? Absolutely. Do I think Russell Wilson's going to light the Rams defense up? Absolutely. So I'm going to go Seahawks here. Again, if the Seahawks let me down here, then you know when to bet the Seahawks. You can't bet the Seahawks when they're playing a good offensive team. Because more likely than not, you're going to start seeing Seattle drop some games that maybe you wouldn't think they would. But because that defense is so bad, they're going to be starting to drop some games. So I'm going to go Seahawks here this week, but do not be surprised in the next couple weeks if I fade them. Saints 49ers. Again, I told you to bet the Saints last week. I'm telling you to bet them this week. The Saints, you're going to start seeing. Number one, they're going to win this division. I don't see the Tampa Bay Bucks being able to catch them. The Saints are starting to hit their stride. I think that game against the Bucks, huge confidence booster for Drew Brees. Huge confidence booster for Michael Thomas coming back. Alvin Kamara's a stud. Defense is playing out of its mind. The Saints are poised to make that run that I said. I still stick by my prediction. Packers, Saints. They're the two best teams. And it's too obvious. Seattle could be there if they had a better defense. 49ers, it's just unfortunate. The 49ers have lost so many people this year. Their top players. Now Jimmy's out. Now George Kittle's out. Their pretty much whole defense is out. So it's unfortunate, but I think -9, that should be fairly easy. I usually don't like to take these big spreads, but the Saints are way better than the 49ers, and you'll probably see it here on Sunday. Sunday night football, Ravens, Patriots. If you saw me on bets, I made an absolute fool of myself by putting the Patriots helmet on because I said, I don't think the Patriots are going to win this game. If we both watched the Jets game, we saw what they are, right? Now, what I did say last week was, listen, you're going to see the Patriots gain some confidence here. They get a win, they break the losing streak. They're going to come into the next game thinking, okay, we can make a run at this. The closest team is 5-3, and it's the Browns and the Raiders. They're bound to drop some games here. The Patriots are going to want to make a run. Now, if you look at their schedule coming up, there's some teams there the Patriots have a shot against. This week, I don't think they beat the Ravens. Do I think there's a possibility? Sure. Every week's a new week. I don't know if they can stop Lamar Jackson. That's my only issue. But if you look at the weeks past, you got a young quarterback, Justin Herbert, playing the Patriots. Usually, Bill Belichick loves playing against these young quarterbacks. You got Jared Goff, Los Angeles Rams. Let's be real here. Bill pretty much has Sean McVay figured out. I don't think he's going to do anything different. Look what happened when Miami played the Rams. Then you've got Arizona. Another young quarterback, Kyler Murray, is going to be running around the field trying to make something happen. Don't see much happening there. Miami and Buffalo, again, if the Patriots can find a stride here, those are 2 wins. Texans, the Patriots can make a run at those wild card spots. They're not going to catch the Bills. That's done with. But if the Patriots want to be continued to known as a playoff contending team, they can do it. This week, keep it close, gain some confidence, make sure that you know you can win the game, and if you lose it, make sure you can keep a stride to go through the end of the year. The Patriots are not as bad as people think. The problem the Patriots are going to have is it seems like their only receiver right now is Jacoby Myers. So hopefully the wide receiver they got, Isaiah Ford from Miami, and some other guys can step up so that Cam can have extra weapons to throw. Because Cam looked good against the Jets, but we'll see against this Ravens defense and pass rush how Cam does. And finally, Vikings, Bears, Kirk Cousins, Monday Night Football. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to bet Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football. Streaks are always meant to be broken. I can understand that. But when it comes to Kirk Cousins and Monday Night Football, and also Kirk Cousins against the Chicago Bears, especially in Chicago, Kirk Cousins is absolutely terrible. I don't care that Dalvin Cook is, running all over teams. I'm going to take the Bears to win and cover here. I don't think the Vikings have it against the Bears team. Quarterbacks are important, and I think they're gonna dare Kirk Cousins to throw the ball. They're gonna stop Dalvin Cook with that front seven defensive lineman. They're gonna try to stop the run and then say, Kirk Cousins, you beat us by throwing the ball. I don't think he can. So I'm going Bears win, Bears +3. All right, guys, this has been Almost Game Day. As always, follow me on my social. Follow Hitting the Field on the social. If you're interested, listen. We're only a couple weeks left from the season finales of a bunch of our shows, so make sure if you're interested in joining Hitting the Field in the spring, DM us, tag us, whatever you want to do, let us know. We need help. We need contributions from a bunch of people. We would love to have you. Also, please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff. It really makes a difference, and we really appreciate it. All right, guys. It is almost game day. Enjoy the games this weekend and enjoy the Masters this weekend as well.